Hello and welcome to French Fried Trains. It's Thursday, May 30th, 2019. Once again, we're in Carlisle, Ohio, at our normal spot. We didn't have to wait long at all before this next train came along. This is a manifest train from CSX, and it has a locomotive on each end. CSX 718 highballs it north with a load of rails right behind the locomotive. This train is cruising. And there goes the helper locomotive on the back. Look at those beautiful clouds above the train. After he had passed, we had to hang out for about an hour or so before the next train arrived. The sun was starting to set by the time it got here, but we still filmed it anyway. Here he comes now. A CSX autorack train with two locomotives on the front, highballing it north. And there he goes. Note the old YN2 paint scheme on the second locomotive. This train was also moving at top speed. Most of these autoracks were completely empty on this day. And here comes an old Conrail boxcar. I keep seeing these mixed in with the autorack trains more and more here. If anyone knows why a couple random boxcars would be mixed into an otherwise all autorack train, please let me know in the comments, because I have no idea. And there's the tail end of the train. I love seeing that end of train device flashing under those beautiful clouds. This was the last train that we got on that day. The next day, when we went to go out, we didn't quite make it. This train was already going through the crossing when we went up there. I decided to start recording it anyways, on the off chance that there'd be a DPU locomotive, and I lucked out. There was. This entire train was all covered hoppers. And here comes the distributed power bringing up the rear. Once he went by and we went over the rails, we seen someone else was sitting down in the crossing waiting to come out. So we shot down to our normal spot here and waited for him to pull out. It was about 5 minutes or so, but he was slowly making his way out of the crossing. Both locomotives on this train are older locomotives, still featuring the YN2 paint scheme. An awesome sight. The reason I love seeing these old YN2 paint schemes is I know one day all these old locomotives will be refurbished and repainted, and we will not see that paint scheme out on the rails any longer. CSX number 34 leads this manifest train out under steady acceleration. He's starting to pick up speed now. A CSX boxcar that's shiny new, already with graffiti on it. And that's the end of this train. This was also the last train that we were able to record that day before we went home. The next day, we were out and about doing errands, and we weren't really rail fanning. However, when we came back into town, the crossing gates were already down. So we got the camera out and started recording, just in time to catch the locomotives coming through the crossing here. Unfortunately, traffic had us a little bit far back, so there's not much to see in this video. That, coupled with the fact that this whole train was empty flat cars, made me decide not to finish recording the whole train. Once the crossing was clear and we were able to drive over, we saw the headlight of another train waiting down in the crossing. So we pulled into our normal spot here and waited for him to come out. It was about 5 minutes as he had to let the other train in front of him clear, but here he comes now, a CSX intermodal train with a single locomotive on the front and distributed power. He's accelerating pretty good now, but he was at the back end of the siding behind that other train, so he had some time to get some speed going. And now we're into a pretty decent sized cut of empty cars. And even more empties. And here comes the second locomotive. And more empties again. I can see now why this train didn't have priority. After he went by, we left as we had other things to do. Later in the day we came back and waited for about an hour, but we didn't see any trains. However, we did catch the CSX hirailer coming down the rails. Hirailer trucks like this are not an uncommon sight on this line. However, usually we don't get to record them as they don't make much sound and you don't know they're coming until it's too late. A nice little catch indeed. After that went by, we left again for a while. I came back out later in the evening, and I was able to catch this train. A CSX manifest train, with 2 locomotives on the front and a distributed power unit. A nice catch. Note the GP40-3 trailer. A big cut of tanker cars in here. I had never seen one of these green rail care tanker cars before. And now we're into a nice cut of steel coil cars. And some interesting graffiti on this covered hopper. And there's the third locomotive, all the way near the end of the train. And that's all we have on this episode of French Fried Trains. Stay tuned for our next episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.